walk into a room and something happens. Without speaking, without even making eye contact, the mood subtly changes. People pause, mid-sentence. Some glance, then glance again. It's not because you're famous, and it's not because you're loud. It's because you carry something rare, a psychological presence so powerful it unsettles the ordinary. This isn't luck, and it isn't charm. It's aura, not the spiritual kind, but the kind that manipulates attention, tension, and perception without effort. It makes people feel like something just shifted, like they're in the presence of someone who sees more, knows more, and says less. This kind of aura doesn't need words. It works in silence, in posture, in energy. And the strange part, most people don't even know it's happening. They just feel different around you, more cautious, more aware, more influenced. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. He knew that real control doesn't start with action. It starts with atmosphere. It's not about dominating with noise. It's about becoming the gravity others can't escape. Today, you'll learn exactly how to build that, not through force, not through performance, but through stillness, precision, and mystery, the ingredients of an aura so powerful it bends people without them even knowing why. Aura isn't born from loud voices or constant motion. It's born from silence. The most powerful presence in any room is often the quietest. It's not your words that capture people first. It's the tension in the air before you speak. That space, those seconds of calm before your voice is heard, is where real influence begins. Your energy should arrive before your sound. People should feel you before they understand you. When you learn to control stillness, to let silence expand without the need to fill it, you tap into a hidden form of power. Most people are uncomfortable with pauses. They rush to fill the gaps. But you let the silence speak for you. You let the room adjust to your stillness. That creates pressure, and pressure, as Machiavelli knew, is often more commanding than noise. A storm doesn't need thunder to be feared. It simply needs presence. And so do you. Your presence, when built correctly, becomes a weight others can't shake, a gravity that pulls their focus, shifts their tone, and makes them question themselves. You don't need to force attention. You create an atmosphere that demands it, subtle, controlled, unrelenting. The one who masters silence controls the frame, and when you control the frame, you control perception. And perception, whether others realize it or not, controls reality. Your job isn't to speak first. Your job is to be felt first. To occupy space so completely that everything else bends to your stillness. That is the foundation of true aura. The average man seeks approval. He wants to be liked, understood, accepted, so he laughs too quickly at jokes that aren't funny. He overshares details no one asked for. He tries to connect through constant words and energy. But this constant reach for connection exposes a hidden desperation, a need to be validated. And those who need validation can never command true respect. In contrast, the powerful man doesn't chase attention. He draws it in without effort. He doesn't seek to be understood. He creates confusion, curiosity, even discomfort, because that's where influence begins. Not in making people feel safe, but in making them feel uncertain. Your goal isn't to be embraced. Your goal is to be felt, deeply, uncomfortably, unforgettably. You're not there to match their energy. You're there to disturb it, disrupt their expectations, shake their rhythm. The moment people start questioning how they should feel around you, admiration or intimidation, fascination or unease, that's the moment you begin to influence them. This psychological tension is not cruelty, it's strategy. When they can't categorize you, they can't control you. And when they can't control you, they unconsciously start adjusting themselves to you. Their tone softens, their confidence wavers. They begin seeking your approval, not because you demanded it, but because your energy disrupted their default state. Be calm, but not comforting. Be present, but unreadable. When people feel unbalanced in your presence, they begin to obey without knowing why. That's not arrogance. That's psychological precision. And that's the first layer of real power. Step 1 to building this presence is simple but brutal. Stop explaining yourself. Mystery is your greatest weapon. The moment you let others fully understand you, they lose their reverence. Aura is not built on transparency. It's built on controlled ambiguity. When people don't fully know you, they project power onto you. Their imagination does more for your image than facts ever could. Let them misinterpret. Let them speculate. The myths they build around your silence will always be more powerful than the truth you could explain. Speak less, not out of shyness, but out of control. Every word you say must feel earned, deliberate, and heavy with meaning. When you speak, do it slowly, with the calm certainty of someone who knows their voice carries weight. Never speak just to fill silence. Stretch the silence until others begin to lean in. to wait, to wonder. This discomfort is your advantage. Most people rush to explain, to be understood, to fill empty space with noise. But you let that space work for you. You create pressure, not through volume, but through precision. When you finally do speak, your words slice through the tension like a knife through fog, clean, sharp, unforgettable. It's not how much you say that makes you powerful. It's how little you need to say. Speak in clear, minimal phrases. No filler. No over-explaining, just truth, suggestion, and pause. Because silence makes people listen. Silence makes them remember. And in a world that constantly performs, your quiet confidence will feel like dominance. They won't just hear you, they'll feel you. Your tone should not rise to meet theirs. Theirs should fall into rhythm with yours. This is how presence becomes power. You speak like someone who's used to being heard, because you are. And the less you offer, the more they value what little they get. Speak rarely, but with force. Make every word a decision, because when your words are expensive, people stop taking them for granted and start adjusting their world around them. If they can predict you, they can prepare for you. And if they can prepare, they can control. That's why your aura must never become static. You must remain fluid, shifting your presence like a tide they can never catch. One day, your tone is warm and inviting. The next, it's cold and distant. Speak with intensity, then disappear without warning. Be present for a moment, then gone the next. Show curiosity in someone's words, then withdraw as if it never mattered. This inconsistency isn't chaos, it's power. Because predictability breeds comfort, and comfort eventually breeds disrespect. But the man who cannot be figured out becomes a force people orbit around carefully, never knowing what to expect, always adjusting themselves just in case. Let them feel like they almost understood you. Then, evolve again. Change your rhythm, your tone, your energy, not to be inconsistent for attention, but to remain unreadable by design. The unknown keeps people cautious. It makes them hesitate, and in hesitation they surrender control. They stop trying to mold you, and instead they start molding themselves around your presence. Your mystery becomes the atmosphere they move within. This is how real influence works. Not by shouting louder, but by becoming the question they can't answer, the pattern they can't crack. When they can't predict your next move, they stop planning their own. And remember, your goal is never to impress. It's to unbalance, to unsettle the rhythm they've grown comfortable with. People don't fear what they understand. They fear what they can't name, what they can't read, what leaves them second-guessing themselves. That's where your power begins. A man who remains calm while everyone else panics becomes the axis around which the room starts to turn, not because he demands it, but because stillness in chaos is unnatural, and anything unnatural commands attention. Your silence should stretch long enough to make them uneasy. Your unreadable expression, a mirror to their own uncertainty. You don't flinch, you don't overreact, and in doing so, you gain a quiet authority that can't be challenged. Your lack of reaction becomes more powerful than their loudest performance, and soon, without them even noticing, their energy shifts. They sit straighter, their tone softens, they choose words more carefully, all because your presence has shifted the gravity of the room. This is how influence begins. Not through noise, but through pressure. Not through dominance, but through tension. You didn't fight for control. You became the atmosphere. You didn't have to raise your voice because you raised your presence. That is power. It's not theatrical. It's psychological. And the ones who master this don't just walk into rooms. They bend them, reshape them, without ever being obvious. Your stillness becomes the command, your silence becomes the strategy, and your calm presence becomes the authority no one dares to question. Your body speaks long before your mouth does, so let it speak power. Your posture, movement, and gaze must carry weight, calm, composed, undeniable. Walk slowly, like every step is intentional. Sit still, as if you command time itself. Stand with quiet certainty, never rushing, never fidgeting. The man who isn't in a hurry signals that he is not chasing anything because he doesn't have to. That's the essence of presence. You're not reacting to the room, you are reshaping it. Your energy doesn't adapt, it dominates. Never appear eager, never seem like you're seeking approval. Your calm detachment is what makes people lean in. You don't chase attention, you attract it by existing in a way that unsettles the usual. You observe more than you speak, and when you do speak, it's with the tone of someone who expects to be heard. Every detail matters. Your clothing, your posture, your stillness. Dress with precision, not to impress, but to remind. Your entire presence should whisper one message. I do not perform for the room performs for me. That mindset radiates through your voice, your timing, and your movements. People won't remember what you wore, or even exactly what you said, but they will remember how you made them feel. You're not cold. That's not arrogance. That's strategy. And that is what creates aura. Before a single word is spoken, even your absence must be deliberate, a tool sharpened with precision. Scarcity creates value, always has. When you're constantly available, always present, always responding, you become familiar. And familiarity breeds invisibility. But when you withdraw with intention, you create space. And in that space, you become unforgettable. People start to feel your absence more than they ever noticed your presence. That's the shift. You appear briefly, calm, collected, intentional, then you vanish. You speak with clarity, then retreat into silence. This rhythm is not cruelty, it's control. You're not withholding out of spite. You're reminding them that your energy is earned, not given away freely. Attention from you should feel like sunlight in winter, rare, warm, and mist when it's gone. Show interest, just long enough for them to remember how valuable it felt. Then remove it without explanation. Let them wonder, let them reach, let them chase. Because once someone has felt the weight of your presence, its absence begins to echo louder than any noise around them. They replay your words, they study your silences, they question what they did wrong, and in that vacuum, you gain leverage, not through demand, but through desire. You don't need to shout, you don't need to plead, you need only to disappear at the right moment. Make your energy rare, make your presence a reward, and watch how quickly they begin to crave what you never even offered fully. That's not manipulation, that's psychological elegance, and it's how the rarest presence becomes the most powerful one. Machiavelli understood one brutal truth. True power does not explain itself. It doesn't beg to be understood, it doesn't chase approval, and it never lowers itself to prove anything. It exists, like gravity, unseen, but always felt. You don't need to impress others with stories of your accomplishments or overwhelm them with loud energy. In fact, the more you talk, the more you reveal, the more control you lose. The powerful man lets his stillness speak. His calmness disturbs more than anger ever could. Because people don't actually obey words, they obey tension. They respond to what unsettles their sense of control. A quiet gaze, an unreadable face, a delayed response. These things make them shift, adjust, hesitate. And when people start adjusting themselves in your presence, you've stepped into psychological dominance. That's the birth of real aura. It's not charm, it's not likability, it's control of the environment without saying a word. You become the unspoken reference point, the energy they react to, even if they don't know why. The louder they get, the quieter you become. The more they explain themselves, the more mysterious you remain. Because power doesn't perform, it reshapes the air in the room, quietly and completely. You don't have to announce your presence. Your presence becomes the announcement. That's not charisma, that's command. And Machiavelli would tell you, if they feel you without hearing you, if they submit without knowing why, then you've already won. So begin now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but now. Step back from the need to be explained, to be liked, to be understood. These are cravings of the ordinary. You're not here to be ordinary. You're here to become a force. Move with calm intensity, like every step carries meaning. Let each word you speak feel chosen, deliberate, carved from silence itself. Speak like silence is your native language, and you only break it when necessary. Let your gaze carry weight, not aggression, but a deep, unsettling stillness that makes people second-guess themselves. Unpredictability is your weapon. Use it to rewrite the expectations others have when you enter the room. You don't need to announce your presence. You don't need to chase attention. The most powerful people never raise their voice. They raise the temperature of the room without saying a word. That's not magic, that's mastery. Become rare, so rare that your presence is missed the moment you leave. Become unreadable, so unreadable that people obsess over what you're thinking. And above all, become the gravity that everything else bends around. Not by force, not by demand, but through sheer presence. This isn't about control through volume. It's about control through energy. The kind of energy that makes people hesitate, adjust, submit, without ever knowing why. Be still, be sharp, be the atmosphere they can't ignore. That's how power moves. And from this moment forward, so will you.